So I think tomorrow is the inauguration of President Obama, and it's a time really to reflect on a lot of very important issues. You know, the fact that he's the first Afro-American president is very important, but also I think his inauguration is a sign of something much deeper. I think there's a fundamental shift that's taking place in this country. It's a shift that I've seen coming for some time, but I think that his election plus the economic crisis, the recession, is really forcing a lot of Americans to really think about what's important in their lives. The whole of modern American economy has been built on the premise that more is good, and that by buying more products and shopping more, you're going to be happier. Yet I feel that that assumption is now being really shattered over the last 6 to 9 months, and that President Obama's election really reflects something much deeper, a yearning for a return to maybe traditional American values. Because of course 100 years ago, the idea of consumption, shopping, status through what you own was really consigned to a very small part of the American population, and the dominant values in this country were thrift, self-reliance, independence, and living very simply. And my feeling is there will be a return to these values, and I think it's excellent, because the tragedy really over the last 20 years or so is that Americans, and many Europeans too, have been working harder than ever to buy more stuff, which has probably made them less happy, and most of it's ended up in storage anyway. It's an insane system. And of course the other side of this system is that it's caused great damage to the environment. There's too many of us consuming too much too quickly in the world. And my hope is that the new president and the new, what the Germans call zeitgeist in this country, a new mood, a new feeling, is really going to help people readdress what is important to them and realise that happiness has nothing to do with what you own, and it has far more to do with the quality of your life, with the quality of your relationships, quality of your health, quality of your family, and the quality of the work you do. And that we judge our work not just in terms of what we earn, but more importantly in terms of the contribution and whether we're really getting satisfaction from it. There's been a lot of research over the last few years in the field of positive psychology, and this is an area which I've taught at university in Oxford, and also written about, and spent a lot of time consulting with businesses to understand, because my feeling is that we actually really want to be happy more than we want to be wealthy, and that our search for wealth and our search to be better and more competitive has actually led to less happiness, and that there's a balance between making a living and being happy. And the clear evidence is that whether it be at work or at home, that the happiest people are people who have the most friends, who have the best relationships, but also find meaning in what they do. Volunteers, people who work for non-profits, are often far happier than the CEO of a Fortune 500 business who might be earning many millions a year, but is highly stressed and often doing work that doesn't hold meaning for them. And there reaches a point in many people's lives when they realise that it's not just about money, and there's much more that they're searching for. And I think that those businesses, those organisations who can provide an answer to people's deeper needs, and not just their financial needs, but their personal needs, their spiritual needs, their needs for affiliation and belonging, will be the successful organisations in the future. And I think what we're seeing again in President Obama's election, and we saw it over the weekend, and I'm sure we'll see it tomorrow when millions converge on Washington, is the very deep yearning to be part of a movement, to be part of something bigger than yourself. And that leads to a much deeper level of happiness, say, than owning the latest sports car or a large home. I find it very interesting, some of the recent developments in psychology. Certainly when I was at university 25 years ago, all the research was on psychology in terms of abnormal psychology, the psychology of depression, the psychology of various disorders, and nobody really studied happiness and well-being and more positive states. Yet over the last 10 years there's been an increasing trend towards studying these states of well-being, which I think is a very positive sign, and the name suggests positive psychology is a movement that I think is here to stay. Because why should psychology only study unhappy people and people who are depressed or suffering from mental illness? Why shouldn't psychology study what it is to be happy? And again, what I find very fascinating about research is the clear indication that once you get to a reasonable salary, which might be the average salary in any country, that the incidence of happiness barely increases based on money. I mean, so the more you earn beyond a median point has really no bearing on your happiness whatsoever. So somebody earning $1 million a year is no happier than somebody earning $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Yet everything in our culture tells us the opposite. So there's this interesting conflict between our cultural norms, between what the media and business is telling us on the one hand, and what the science of positive psychology is telling us on the other hand. And I feel there's going to be a lot more research down here, and that more and more people are looking to improve the quality of their life rather than the quantity of what they own or their status. But it's really very short-sighted to base our happiness on acquiring more things and also increasing our status level against our peers. Because again, one of the premises of so much of our education and so much of our culture is that being the best in a field, earning more, being better than someone leads to greater happiness, when in fact there's very little truth in this. I think anecdotally we've known that happy people can be found in any occupation and any social level, but also spirituality, religion has been telling us for thousands of years that money does not make us happy. In fact, money may well be the root of all evil. Well, that's another issue. But what is becoming quite evident is that the research and high-level academic research is really dispelling the myth that money leads to happiness.